Hey everyone, thanks for joining me for this eye tutorial. I'm calling this look Everyday Sexy. It's something that is a really pretty eye look, but it's not over the top, and I think it's totally appropriate for day-to-day wear. It can take you into the night as well and look completely appropriate there also. So I'm going to be using my 88 Warm palette because I've had lots of requests to do more looks with that because I really have recommended that palette and I need to do more looks using it. So this is a really simple look to achieve, but I think what makes it so wearable is the fact that it is so blended out, and it's got a little smoky edge to it, but not the extreme smoky look that I've done with some other looks in the past. So I hope you enjoy this video and keep on watching. Step one is to go ahead and put a primer on your eyelid. I used my Too Faced Shadow Insurance Primer already, and then I'm going to take my 88 Warm palette, and I'm going to kind of be focused down in this corner where the sort of grays and blacks are, and I'm going to be using this shade right here to go all over my lid. It's one over and one up on the left-hand side of your palette. So I'm going to use my Sigma SS239 brush. So this is very comparable to the e.l.f. eyeshadow brush. You don't have to use these exact products to get this look, but this is just going to kind of give you an idea of what I'm working with. So as you can see, I'm just kind of packing that on all over the lid to give us kind of that medium gray shade. I think what kind of makes this look pretty and unique from some other things that I've done is that the shade on the lid is light, but it's not like white, you know what I mean? So I'm going to be going back to that shade and then kind of just flipping my brush over and pushing that shade right up into the crease and kind of just building this sort of circle of color around the eye area there. So your edges might be a little uneven. This is a pretty light shade, kind of forgiving, so I'm going to use my SS224 brush and just buff out that edge. So now we've got that nice base shade that's going to make other shades we put on top of it blend a little easier. And by the way, I've got my little towel on here. My hair is drying right now. What I'm going to go ahead and do at this point now is go to a highlight shade, and I'm going to be using one that is 4 shades down and 4 shades over from the left-hand side of the palette. And that is this shade right here. It's kind of a goldeny, like kind of buttercream shimmery shade. I use this a lot as a highlight here because I like the kind of golden finish it leaves. And I'm just going to put that take it right up to my brow and just kind of buff between the two. So we've got our nice kind of base level of color on there. Then I'm going to use my SS252 brush, a nice flat brush. And we're going to go to one of the darker shades in this palette, right here in the lower corner. It's kind of a slightly shimmery charcoal grayish black shade. So just get your brush in that, and this kind of a little bit goes a long way with this shade, so be aware of that. Don't load too much on your brush. Got about that much on, and I'm just going to kind of wedge this in my crease and start to deepen it up a little bit. And I like to use just a little bit of this color at first, just to kind of see where I'm at, and then, you know, build it up. That's kind of the safest way to use this shadow. So just go right into the crease. And then you might decide you want a little bit more. I'm not really building an actual outer V like I would normally. I'm just kind of laying the color down and maybe concentrating a little bit more on the outer half of the crease, but not really trying to necessarily create a bold outer V with this look. It's all going to look very blended, ideally. Okay. So kind of pay attention to your other eye, you know, make sure you're building it up to the same intensity and shape. And then once again, use a bare brush. The Sigma SS224 is good for just kind of sweeping over that color and making it look very seamless there. And we may go back with that dark shade once again once we do our liner, but this is kind of where we're going to stay for now. We are going to go ahead and do a very fine liquid line with a little subtle wing here on the side. I'm going to be using my LA Girl Fineline. It's one of those liners that I recently reviewed, and this is just a great way to get a nice natural line. And I'm just going to start on the inner corner And you'll get a very, very fine line with this. Once you've got your line, you want to think about winging it out, and you can do that by just sort of going from the corner of your eye and gearing it up right towards the outer edge of your eyebrow there, like you're kind of pointing up to it, and then connect over from the base part of your liner there, and then just fill it in. And you've got kind of a subtle wing there, just kind of pointing up, leaving your eyes having kind of a lifted look to them. And so that's the top lash line. For the bottom, I'm going to use my Sigma SS266, so a nice little sharp liner brush there. And I'm going to be using this matte black shade that's 3 shades over in the Warm palette from the lower left-hand side. So get a little bit of that on your brush. And what we're just going to do here is not necessarily, you know, we're not really blending. You can't really blend this texture with a liquid that is dried there on your eye, but you can kind of work up to it and sort of match up to that, so you're kind of connecting, I guess. And then just smudge this in with your lower lashes. I'm going to go to the inner corner, and you're going to see that we're going to smudge this out even more, so you don't have to be too super precise here. Just like so. And next, using the sort of pencil brush, the SS219, I'm going to go in and just use that to further smudge this shade out. Give it an even softer line than it already has. I really like how that brush does that. And then we want to accent the look a little bit more. I'm going to be going in with this mini contour brush from Coastal Scents that I like so much. And I'm going to go with a very, very light shade in this palette. It is 2 over from the left-hand side. It's a very, very... Ooh, I just stuck my fingernail in one of those colors. Oops. Anyway, it's a very, very light, shimmery silver. So get some of that on that little brush, or like a Q-tip. And we're just going to blend it in there and blend it right over the top of this as well. Now, my recommendation, once you've done your liner and everything, is to go back and look at the shape you've got going on here, and you may want to even deepen things up a little bit more. I'm going back to the matte black shade with the pencil brush, getting just a little bit on there, and then sort of deepening things even more here on the outer corner. For a lot of people, this is easier to do than to just go straight into it and try to build the outer V with shadow. Sometimes just going off of your liner can kind of help everything. So just put a little bit deeper shade color down there, mainly on the outer corner, and then take a big fluffy bare brush and buff it out. It's just kind of, you're seeing that pattern here. It's the application and then the blending that really makes this look work. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is curl my eyelashes, and I'm kind of revisiting mascara that I thought was pretty good at first, and I'm enjoying more and more how it kind of fans the lashes out, and it's CoverGirl Lash Blast. And I also like how it really doesn't smudge. I have recommended this to people who say they have big smudging problems with their mascara, but they don't want to use waterproof, and so this is a really good one for that. So I'm going to apply a couple coats to the top and some on the bottom, and I'll join you with the finished look. Alright guys, here is the finished look. Very, very easy to wear look for a day-to-day basis, but a very pretty and feminine look as well. We go using a little bit of the outer V technique, but in a very, very subtle way. And on my lips also, I kind of kept them pretty natural. I used one of my favorite tinted lip balms from Palladio. The shade is golden pink. I think I showed bronzy pink in one of my last videos, but this is golden pink. It's got a little bit more of a pinky tone to it. And then to really accent that and give a little extra gloss, I used my NYX Diamond Sparkle Lip Gloss, or NYX, whatever you prefer, in Rose Sparkle. So that's the kind of shade that is. So I just put that over the top, and all over my face I used Maybelline Mineral Power makeup. I used the Mineral Power bronzer, but kept that pretty light, and I used the Maybelline Mineral Power blush in sort of a peachy shade. So I hope you enjoy the look, guys. Also, I got this little scarf. It has some little fringe on it. It has like a heart pattern and, you know, some little various patterns on it, and I got it for about $5 at Walmart. So thanks so much for tuning in for this video, and have a great day, everyone.